Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of the Cultured Nerd Podcast. This week we're going to be talking about the new outrage that apparently is plaguing the DC universe, and that is fans are just pissed off at everything all the time. Anything new that happens, anything fun that happens, they hate it. So we're going to be talking about this new controversy. We've got some fans that are claiming that the casting of Jon Stewart is colorism and racism, that the actor isn't dark enough to play the role, which is absolutely ridiculous. They also now complaining that James Gunn is using the wrong breed of dog to play Krypto, and they're just complaining about everything. Hal Jordan's too old. This character's too light. This character's the wrong age. This character, they're just complaining about everything. So we're going to be talking about all the outrages and all of the nonsense, and we're going to be talking about if it's real or not, or if it's actually a systemic problem of just bitter fans not accepting that they didn't get what they wanted, and now they're just trying to ruin it for everyone. So here we are. Let's talk about it. And here we are.
Taylor, we've been doing podcasts all wrong. The audience likes when you introduce yourself at the very top. Tell everybody who you are.
I'm Taylor, as always, and this is Michael, as always. I mean, I don't know what else they want from us. I mean, we're always doing the same thing.
Full description of you, founder of the Cultured Nerd, the one who brings us into the room. I am
6'1". I have brown hair and green eyes. My family is Irish, Nordic, Ashkenazi, Jewish, and Spanish. And I'm married. I have 3 kids. I'm a big old nerd. I grew up in California. What else do you want? I like long walks on the beach.
I was going to say, you didn't have to give us your dating profile, but that's fine.
I've been married 13 years, and my wife is my best friend and scariest person in my life. I don't know what else they want to know.
That's great. Those are all good stuff. Just little tidbits for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm doing my Twin Peaks. I look like one of the demon guys. Didn't realize that till I hopped on camera. I'm not changing.
That's a fine cup of coffee.
It's a fine cup of coffee. I mourn every day that we don't get more Twin Peaks.
I thought the ending of the second season, basically the 13-hour long movie,
it was so good.
Was the ending was fantastic, but I think they ended it in a way that made me question if he was teasing us, making us think that this was all a dream, but also not all a dream. And the ending was absolutely bonkers. And I want a follow-up now because he needs to finish that story.
He told you it's a dream.
Yeah.
When the big coop face goes, it's all a dream. It's all.
He tells you like to your face. And then like they even had that bit where you think that what's her face is it's all a psychosis in her mental hospital bit. And I'm like, what was that? And I was immediately like, what is happening? But
I want to rave about that. We'll save Twin Peaks for another day.
We will save Twin Peaks for another day.
Why? You sent me the picture of what we were going to talk about, and all I can think about is people being mad at the dog. They understand that he's like literally doing that comic book, right? Like he told everybody beforehand the Superman he wanted to do and the tone he wanted to do, and even said, hey, you can go read all about it. What do you mean the dog is the wrong breed? It's a space fucking dog.
Yeah, so apparently James Gunn had put out a photo, and it was a very cool photo, and then subsequently made a very cool series of wallpapers for people. And the photo, it was a let me just pull up the photo because I can't I don't have the ability to share it on here because it was actually like a video like he put out. And James Gunn social media, where are you? So he dropped this picture. I'm going to drop the brightness so you can see it. And it's got Superman and Krypto sitting on the moon watching the Earth. And that's a shot from All-Star Superman, Superman for All Seasons. It's used a lot in the comics, and it's just a really cool shot of the big blue himself with his dog. And immediately people saw this raggedy dog and was like, that's the wrong type of dog. And they were like, it should be a lab. He has to be a lab. And then James Gunn went to social media to basically say it's not a big deal. And then people got mad at him for his explanation. They're like, one of the comments right off the bat, not to be that guy, but isn't Krypto supposed to be like a lab or something? And he's like, no, Krypto is historically a generic white dog, sometimes a lab, a white shepherd, a husky, or Dalmatian. But obviously he's an alien, so it wouldn't necessarily exactly be one of those things. And it's like, he basically took the inspiration for this version of Krypto from his rescue dog. He and his wife got a rescue, loved this dog to pieces, realized this dog is adorable and a menace at the same time, and said, what if this dog has superpowers, and how bad would that be?
Taylor, you're telling me about Hollywood nepotism. You're telling me James Gunn's dog's taking work from other dogs? He's putting his wife and the dog in a movie? Blasphemy. Blasphemy.
Yeah, it's funny because like didn't everyone love Groot? I mean, didn't James Gunn say that his last dog was, they did the facial capture for the dog to be Groot's face? Like, well, I feel like people don't pay attention that James Gunn makes some of the best stuff out there, basing it on his personal relationship with his pets.
And to the audio listeners out there, that we have highlighted on the screen from Langford_artist over on the YouTubes, the internet be like, yeah, would be cool to get Krypto. They get Krypto and they're like, do not like that. It is a little bit like that.
It's
at what point you understand that that's the point of being a filmmaker, is like reimagining it in what they want. I feel like we're going to have this conversation 10 more times because for more choices are going to come out. We haven't even seen all of the choices yet with Superman. That was my favorite podcasting shirt. Thank you, my good sir. Thank you for my shirt.
Yep. So it's funny because I see this outrage, and this outrage has been across the table. Like, when they announced a new Superman movie was coming, they're like, how dare it not be Henry Cavill? Let's hate on it. But if it is someone, maybe it's David Corenswet. He announces David as the Superman, and they're like, yes, David. Then they show the costume. Boo, he looks terrible. Why does he have a collar? And then they say, oh, these are the other cast members. They're like, yay, other heroes. Boo, they're going to be wasted. And then like every casting, they've just been not happy with. Like when they announced the short list of who could possibly be Hal Jordan, when they cast the actor to be Hal Jordan, everyone's like, he's a great actor, but he's too old for Hal Jordan. Boo, I hate it. It's like, good Lord, people. Can't we, like, have we not played this game every year for the last 25 years for every single casting? I remember, we were old enough for this. Chris Nolan announces he's going to do Heath Ledger as the Joker, and the internet lost its collective shit. And they said, good Lord, this is the worst casting. We're going to have a gay Joker because he was a gay cowboy in his last film. And they just went unloaded and saying this was terrible. And now, to this day, people say he's not as good as Heath Ledger. And that's the benchmark that people have for the character.
Which is a wild benchmark. We can't hold other people accountable for an Academy Award level performance, meaning of performances of that year. That was the highest, the tip of the iceberg in terms of craft, connectivity, like all of these different things that we judge it on. We can't judge it because for the rest of the stuff is schlock. We get a comic book movie like that, what? Once a decade? What? Road to Perdition, The Dark Knight, right? The Dark Knight. What else is on the short list?
I don't know. None of the Marvel. Logan. I mean, like that's the Marvel movie that I would say is up there is Logan. But the MCU hasn't pulled anything like that. I mean, they got close with The Winter Soldier in my book, but a lot of people slept on that movie until it became the best Marvel movie, but it didn't do great in the box office because people didn't watch it because it was Captain America.
That's very true. I did not see that movie and then saw it at home and thought it was a really good movie. I did not go and see it in theaters.
Yeah, so here's Langford Artist again. The main DCU complaints so far have been Henry isn't Superman, Krypto isn't a lab, Hal is going to be older, John isn't black enough. Like, what's going to happen? Whoever they announce as Batman, they'll be like, not as good as Affleck. But if you remember,
people hated him.
They hated him. Even when he came out as Batman, they're like, that scene was cool, but I hate him as Batman. And then when it was like after BVS and JL came out, that they were like, oh, Ben's the best Batman ever. And then that mentality continued until Zack Snyder's Justice League. and now all of a sudden people think that he's like Batman
Well,
Jesus compared to like everything else. It's absolutely insane, this collective amnesia that people have with how outraged they were over things, and how I've always been a fan, but they haven't.
I wonder if this is us feeling so powerless over all of the other factors in our world right now that are far more important than this little corner of nerddom that we cling so tightly to. I wonder if it's like, oh, I can't have any influence on the election, so I'm really going to tear down this Superman movie. This Superman movie is going to feel my ire because I have to pick from Kamala Harris or Trump.
And I think maybe that's part of it. I think people are just pissed off that some other aspect of their life isn't going the way they want, so this is what they're going to be outraged about.
I also feel a little tricked by reviews because like that Beetlejuice movie, I only read terrible things about it. I watched it. It tickled me pink.
I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. To me, and the reason why I thought it was great, because I love Michael Keaton and I love him as Beetlejuice, and he spent more time as Beetlejuice in the first act of this movie than the entirety of the last movie.
Taylor and I sat through a decade of soulless Tim Burton movies. Those Alice in Wonderland movies don't feel joyful at all. That scene where Monica Bellucci is stapling her body back together, it's fun, it's whimsy, it's dark. I can see where he gets to play in this weird world.
Yeah. And then the whole sequence where she's like, I'm going to kill you, and he's like, not until I axe you to death first. I'm like, I love everything about this movie. This movie is absolutely insane. And
Taylor, I can't believe that in 2 movies, Beetlejuice's universe has explained its ghost world better than the Ghostbusters has in 4 movies. In 2 movies,
and a TV show, and a very long TV show.
I couldn't believe. Some people said that the second movie felt like the cartoon. I do not feel like it felt like the cartoon. It definitely felt like an homage to the first one. They paid off everything. Do another one with a brand new story, and don't make it Beetlejuice goes to Hawaii.
And they should. I think that would just be fun as like a joke. Start the movie of Beetlejuice in Hawaii, and then they just do the rest of the movie.
Do the rest of the movie someplace else.
Yeah, but like honestly, it's funny because I see people getting so mad about all of these things, and it's like, come on, guys. Like, I posted this. Someone sent me this screenshot, and he was like, "This was on Twitter today, and this is how the internet feels." And it was this really funny. Like someone shared the picture of Superman and said they changed Krypto's breed. He's supposed to be a lab, and then like the response is, "Your brother just bought a house," and it was like, it's like people are like, they're getting so outraged over these things that it's almost like embarrassing that we as adults are trying to tear something down that's meant for everybody.
Now, Taylor, I'm going to have you take off your Taylor hat, and I'm going to have you put on your Snyderverse hat, which I feel you have earned. I feel that you have a lot of clout there.
I think I have it here. 1 second.
That community is based on drama and did a lot of great stuff with its voice. Is there any chance that this is rogue snipers of the Snyderverse trying to kind of kick out the legs of this new Superman, because Superman shouldn't have a dog. He should have a weird mustache, which you cover up with CGI.
The way you phrase that just makes me like, it hurts my brain a little bit.
You should have a mustache that you then use CGI.
Wait, I actually have a mustache. Why should I?
Yeah.
So one of the biggest upsets that I actually had was this last week when they announced that the actor Aaron Pierre was actually cast as Green Lantern. I loved it. I was so excited that the guy that I wanted as John Stewart got the gig. I was beyond excited. I'm like, this guy is an amazing actor. He knocked it out of the park in Krypton because he played in Krypton. He's already been in the Superman universe on TV. He did it great. He is blowing it up on Netflix with that one movie that he just did. I totally forgot the name of it. He is a fantastic actor. He's going to kill it as John Stewart. I opened Twitter. The first comment, not my Green Lantern, and a picture of Wayne T. Carr from Zack Snyder's concept art. And immediately I'm just like, what is going on?
To be fair, that guy also wasn't Green Lantern, right? He never even got a shot to be a part of it.
And that's the thing, is that they're like, not my Green Lantern. This is my Green Lantern. Guys, it's concept art. Zack never actually, He filmed it. They have a rough cut of the scene, but they were not allowed to move forward with it. So it's never actually been animated. It's never actually been completed. It's literally Wayne reading his script on a green screen.
If it's not canon, it's fan fiction. And sometimes it happens with our favorite pieces of art. This should have happened in the Snyder movies. It didn't.
It should have. And it didn't happen. And it didn't happen because people like Toby Emmerich and Walter Hamada were trying to still have their backdoor deals with Jeff Johns to make his Green Lantern. So they said, we're not letting you use Green Lantern because we've already got a guy working on Green Lantern. And then they all got fired and nothing happened out of it. So the people who are to blame for the shit that we all mad about are gone. So stop blaming the new people who are trying to fix the mess that those people created. Like, it's insane, because whether or not the fans wanted Zack Snyder's Justice League and the universe to continue, it was a moot point by the time David Zaslav came in, because Zack had already been told no by the management at Warner Brothers, and he signed a contract with Netflix and moved on and walked away. And then they tried to do whatever they could to make the deal look better. They tried to sweeten it. They tried to basically rebuild that burned bridge that they created, because they thought, if we can fix this with Zack, we won't get fired. And Zaslav came in and said, no, you're all out of here. You ruined everything. The internet hates you guys. We're done. And there was no way to recover. So they had to reboot. That was the only option.
I also feel like, I think that there's so many comparisons to Zack Snyder's movie, but I want to talk about tone. There was a darkness to his universe that was throughout. I think that what people are forgetting is that this colorful Superman with his dog element is all to be the pendulum, because when it swings the other way, Batman is going to be dark.
And that's what I've been trying to tell people. Oh, they're like, I like my Superman dark. I'm like, okay, so he's only been dark. He's only had muted colors in his costumes the last 2 films, right? He's been only muted in Superman Returns and the Man of Steel movies. But in every other depiction, animation, especially the source material, especially the comics, Metropolis is this bright, clear, crazy, futuristically, it's like New York that's clean and covered in like happiness. And
it's like if Salt Lake City was in New York City.
Funny enough, Salt Lake City is a cesspool too. It's one of those things.
But it's pretty, right?
No, there's some really pretty, like, you think Utah, you're like, oh, all the Mormons. And then you go to Salt Lake City and you're like, this is a weird, I see Mormon stuff right there, but there's homeless people and there's well, Salt Lake is a weird thing. It's like one of those, like, the closer you are to the sun, the bigger the shadow. Salt Lake is the big shadow.
Maybe that's true, because we were in Boulder, Colorado, and I couldn't believe how many people were doing heroin. We were in the park, and I was like, everyone just does this. All these people are doing heroin.
And this is insane right here. That people called it the Snyder cult because it's how insane they're getting. Now the cult is wishing death on James Gunn's dog. This is getting weird. His dog is literally a rescue dog. He could have led the statement saying, this dog was abused. I brought it in. I gave it a good life. And they'd be like, oh, yay. But now he's Krypto. Fuck that dog. Like, that's how they are acting. It's insane.
This dog, we need to be trauma informed. This dog had a tough life, was abandoned. Something terrible happened to it. The dog is literally like, it's like Bingo is his name-o. This dog is having the best life ever.
Yeah, and then now we're going to talk about the next controversy, and to make sure that people say, oh, look, another white guy talking about a controversy, we're going to allow Hinde to also be in this conversation, because I talked to him about this separately, and his stance on this made total sense.
Hinde, ATO Worldwide, as the internet should know you. Thank you for joining us here. I am flabbergasted that we're actually even talking about this. Not that it shouldn't be talked about, but it's crazy that this is what people's beef is with the new Green Lantern.
So the actor, Aaron Pierre, fantastic actor. We've talked about this prior. He's a great actor. He is perfect for the role. Immediately as he was cast, people were like, he's too light for Jon Stewart. They're trying to whitewash Jon Stewart. And I'm just like, guys, what is wrong with you? They picked him because of the quality of his ability to be an actor. Not that he is lighter than the other guys in the room. Like, to me, do you see this as colorism or racism, or like them picking a white black guy, as Twitter keeps calling it?
Is it Twitter or is it Black Twitter? You got to pick one.
Honestly, I have no idea at this point because Twitter is all anonymous, so I have no idea who's actually complaining the most.
I think well, let's be clear. This the fandom that we're all a part of, which is the pop culture world. There are a lot of racist people in this pop culture world, bro. Like, it's crazy. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I
remember when I first started on Rangers, like, oh God, another black dude with a black suit. Like, so you know what I mean? I think it's an accurate selection because I remember when I saw the two choices for Hal and John, I thought they were pretty perfect. I thought they were pretty spot on. I don't know the actor very well. I will check out some of his work. I did see the ad for the film that he has on Netflix with Don Johnson. With Crockett, Sonny Crockett, motherfuckers. That's for the kids that were born that
know the reference to.
Yeah. If you know the reference, yeah. So,
Miami Vice guys.
It looks as if he's a really good actor. I think he's winning half the battle by coming in with the proper physique, and he has the green eyes, which is cool considering the fact that John did get the green eyes from the overuse of the wearing the ring. We know this, right? But he's coming in the game with the green eyes.
That's the movie.
What was what was the guy from Snowfall? What's his name?
They had so many people in the short list for this project. It wasn't just him.
I only know two. So I don't know who was all on the short list, the original short list, but I only know the two. I think his name is Idris. No.
Yeah, no, Damson Idris.
Damson Idris.
He's from. Okay. That was the guy in the picture here.
Yeah. So he was raised from Snowfall. So look, let me just be clear. Shout out to him. He's an amazing actor. First of all, British actors are probably the best actors because, you know,
they invented acting.
Come on, man. What's his name?
And cross-dressing.
Oh man. What's his name? Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
Is he a perfect actor?
Listen.
Doctor Strange. Is he perfect?
No.
Like I'm just saying the acting, right?
He's pretty close to it. You know what's crazy is I saw that they're doing another Strange. I'm like, yeah, you have Cumberbatch. You got to use him because if you don't use it, he's going someplace else.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, so to answer to finish off the question, so the runner-up, the guy from Snowfall, he would have been a horrible choice for Green Lantern. He can be something else. The only other reference that we had to a Green Lantern was the nightmare scene or whatever with that guy was awesome. From what we saw, but that's a completely different studio. Now this one, the guy that they have,
I think people don't realize that Warner Brothers made that film and DC Studios is its own studio now.
Right. So we have the guy now. I think he's perfect. I mean, there's a lot of I shouldn't say retcon, but retconning. It's a slight retcon, but who cares? Because the John Stewart that the majority of the people that are complaining, the ones that the John Stewart that you know, is the John Stewart from Justice League. Can I cuss?
Yeah, you can.
A lot of you motherfuckers didn't even know who the fuck John Stewart was until Justice League and Justice League Unlimited came out. Like, let's be clear. Like, a lot of y'all didn't even know who the dude was until, oh my God, he's a black dude. Yeah, for real. You know what I mean? Like, it does not matter. Like, who cares? You know what I mean? So, whatever works, whatever sticks. I mean, I don't see anyone complaining about Mr. Terrific and shit. Like, he shut up. You know what I mean? Like, see, okay, so Taylor, remember I told you about my buddy Albert?
Yeah.
I'm gonna show you his photos. He looks just like that dude.
Just like Green Lantern?
Bro, because I have a friend. He was cosplaying back in like before I even knew what the hell cosplaying was. He had a John Stewart leather suit. His shit was amazing, bro. He was fire. Like it was nice. Yeah, he was the first guy to ever see to do Blade. He did a accurate Blade. He did John Stewart. He did Spawn. Yeah, he did a pretty good job with the cos. This is back in the early days, early 2000s and stuff, man. But I think the guy who they have that's playing Green Lantern, the selection was perfect. You can't get any better than that. I mean, no one's perfect. We can't get an accurate depiction of what these characters really look like because we kind of don't know what they look like.
Right.
I mean, the closest thing we could do is in 10 years when Hollywood shuts down and AI takes over, we just tell AI what we want. And that's what we'll get. Because that's where we're headed.
Yeah.
That's the only way to keep nerds happy is AI drive everything.
Right, but I want to hit that point home that Hinde just hit.
Like, terrific, by the way.
These are fictional characters. And even from comic book to comic book, if a comic uses a different color set, you know what I mean? Like, there are characters that aren't even in human tones at all. So, like, I don't know. I feel like we are nitpicking this universe, and I feel like we need to let it happen. If the movie's garbage, we'll judge it based on that. But I'm going to let you know, James Gunn's got a pretty good track record, especially with new IP. And if he does just 1/3 of the business that Guardians of the Galaxy did, we're going to be over the moon. And I think people forget about that.
I agree.
I think, honestly, people are they're being so over the top with how they're reacting to this film that it's like, they're trying to cut it off at the knees before it's even had a chance to stand up on its own. And like you said earlier, it's already been made very clear that James Gunn is taking this Superman world and making Superman's corner of Metropolis feel like the comic books. So when we do see the dark, gritty, gothic Batman universe and Gotham over there, you will have that stark contrast. We won't have what we had in Man of Steel, where Metropolis and Gotham are almost interchangeable in some scenes.
So now that we're talking worlds and that we know that these things are going to be like it, what version of the Green Lantern Corps and Oa do we get? Do you think it's going to be fantasy-y, like Game of Thrones, but in space? Or do you think it's going to be more of a Star Trek look, more of a clean look, you know, the way that we assume space things would operate?
It's a good question.
I honestly think that, I mean, exactly that. I think we're going to have a very unique look of both of them. I don't think Oa is going to look like it did in the Ryan Reynolds film. I'll tell you that. I think it's going to look like it does in the comics, where it's like a city with streets and alienness everywhere and very Star Trek-y. So I could very much see that being what they do. So
is there any definitive version of that, though? When we see a picture of Oa and it looks a little bit fantasy, but a little bit like Star Trek, are people going to freak out about that as well?
I'm pretty sure they will. But the most comic versions of Oa that you know are from the Jeff Johns books, like Secret Origin and all that stuff, where you have a very defined look of Oa, and that's what it looks like Star Trek. So I'm very curious to see what they do with it, or even how much they're going to show us of Oa, because from what we know is that this version of the movies, the Green Lantern world, this project is going to be taking place on Earth.
Mm.
So maybe we'll get some of Oa, but I'm not expecting a whole ton.
I wonder if he'll do what he does with the Marvel movies, where they get a real celebrated actor to play like a smaller part. And I wonder if
Robert De Niro is one of the Guardians.
Maybe. Like I don't think he's a good choice, but I think we're talking about that level, right? Yeah. Does Pacino show up and be like, "Oh, I got a magic ring for you"? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be something like that.
No, so when I talk about what I think that's going to happen is that we're going to get this.
Yes.
Metropolis is bright, clear, happy, beautiful, and then Gotham is like, Gotham's a shithole.
And this is what we want, but it's going to take this other stuff so we can get to here.
I think people are they're not letting the cooks cook, and they're just getting mad before the broth is finished. Like, just let them do what they do, judge the product when it finally comes out, stop creating all new internet outrages, stop trying to initiate controversies because you're mad that something died from a different regime. Because the Snyderverse died before these people even stepped in the room. And
these people weren't responsible for killing it.
They weren't.
There's no blood on their hands.
And the thing is that I want to say this again. The thing is, David Zaslav and all of them entertained the idea of continuing. they said maybe we will continue this universe if the projects like Shazam and Black Adam and The Flash that are part of this universe are successful, and we can prove that the general audiences want these things. And they died. They died in the theaters. None of them really broke even in theaters. And they were like, yeah, we saw what we needed to see. This universe is dead. General audiences don't care, and the fans don't care. So boycotting something because you want them to give you something is not the way that works in Hollywood. They just see it as the numbers aren't there. Let's move on. Are you going to react to Creatures Commandos in New York Comic Con? This weekend, we're going to be getting some Creature Commando stuff. So yeah, 100%. I'll talk about it because I'm really looking forward to that show.
Creatures Commando.
It's such a weird concept that I'm just like, yeah, let's do this.
Nice.
Well, listen, if James Gunn's bringing back horror 90s and monsters, he's speaking to the right squad. Hinde, if our audience wants to hear more of you, where can they tune in? Where can they hear more about you?
Well, I appreciate that award ceremony. Get the hell off of my show.
Well, we're already at 30 minutes. That's about as far as we tend to go.
The algorithm doesn't let us go more than 30 minutes now.
Nah, I'm just talking crap. You know what? Find me, follow me, hit me, ATO Worldwide. And if you don't want to see me, hop on the podcast. That type of talk. There's another guy that does a podcast with me, and he's light-skinned too.
People are gonna love that. If you're out about in the wild, is there any place people could see you live in person?
Yeah, so this weekend we will be at the SplatCon. It's a Nickelodeon themed convention. It is in LA at the, I don't know, look it up because I don't have the information on me, but we will be at SplatCon with a lot of your favorite actors from yesteryears, some of the greatest years of American history, Nickelodeon actors, voice actors, everybody's going to be there. I'm going to finally get to see Mark Summers, bro. I want to hug him. So,
I've only heard good things about Mark Summers. I knew somebody that was in the theater program with his daughter at UCLA. Guess what? When the cameras aren't on, Mark Summers is a very nice man to people.
I heard.
I like that because there's been so much bad press about Nickelodeon. It's nice to hear that one face of Nickelodeon from our childhood is still a genuinely awesome human being.
Well, listen, to be clear, I know y'all got about 5 minutes in this thing. The whole bad press about Nickelodeon it seems like it was based on one person, and I don't think that one person should give Nickelodeon's legacy a bad taste, because I love Nickelodeon. I mean, I grew up in Florida, so like I got to see all that cool shit growing up, man. And then, ironically, in my adult years, I became friends with a lot of the people that were involved with a lot of the Nick shows and stuff, which is awesome. And it's a blessing, and I'm grateful for it. But I don't think that one thing should just tarnish the legacy of Nickelodeon, because Nickelodeon has created monsters like us, man. So
so much. And also it really is a very small division of what they did, because you're right. The animation world, all of those voice actors still working. You know what I mean? Like, and when I think back about, that when they were having to compete with Cartoon Network, right? Like almost like WCW and WWF, when they were dropping things like Angry Beavers and Kablam coming at you with Invader Zim. Like there was nothing like Invader Zim when Invader Zim came out.
You know what was really sick? When they did the Cartoon Network did the Nickelodeon bumper, when they took the bumper from Nick and they brought it to Cartoon Network, and it's like, I don't think we're supposed to be here. Who cares? Let's do it anyway. Like it was that. And in the final episode of Laszlo, Heifer comes out from Rocko's Modern Life. Like, how do you do that? That was so dope. That was fire, bro. That was next level, man. But yeah, man. I do a lot of shows, do a lot of conventions and cons and stuff. And if you want to keep up with what I have going on, just follow me, ATO Worldwide, and have some good times, man.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you for joining us to comment on all of this. If you'd like to help comment on all of this, head on over to the patreon.com/theculturednerd. Help us keep the lights on. Help us keep producing this wonderful content. If you don't have any money to throw away, that's just fine. Feed the algorithm, though. Please go like, comment, subscribe. Down in the chat below, question of the week. What fun invention do you want to just be in the city of Metropolis? They've had hover scooters for a long time. What's the thing that you want to see there? Taylor Murphy is your host. I'm Michael Santel, your co-host. Thank you so much. Stay tuned to the Culture Nerd. Lots of good stuff coming up. And we'll see all you kids and cats next time.
I'm really glad that you didn't tell them to break into my house again. Like, that was just a win for me.
I
Like,
didn't
right
say
off the bat.
break in. I said you magically show up in his room and you get to steal anything that you like. What are you stealing?
First off, how are they going to get into my house? How are they going
It's
to
magic, Taylor. I said it's magic. They don't know the passcode, okay? They don't know your mother's maiden name, her birthday, and whatever else is your security system passcode.
None of that is my security password. Thank you for at least ruling that out.
His
For
first dog, it's a trampoline, and then it's also has something to do with belts.
What? What?